Since 38, 1938, they've been making clone people. There's 8 countries making clones. I have a doctor friend that all he does is treat the clones.
Where do you get your information?
I get it from some of the people that are willing to come forth, and they talk to me because they hope I'll put the information out, because they always got 2 people following them, and they may be killed. If I start talking about cloning too much, the people that get involved into that disappear on it. So I don't go into too many more details, but there is information that's available, and more and more of that's coming on the line. I just told you, go rent the movie.
Okay, Boys from Brazil.
Yeah, and you'll see the whole technique on what they show it to you in different places, so you can imagine what it's going on.
Okay, so...
No, let's go to the next step, because this is the most important part.
All right.
If your physical reality that you have, based on this physical life that you have, this dream, is made up of the experiences that is impregnated on your body and in your mind, consciously, right? Mm-hmm. Your soul memory is another thing. Mm-hmm. It goes back whatever time that you elected to be in this incarnation for whatever reason. Now let's show you the division on these things. Since the body's very physical, and we just got you making a physical being in a few months for spare parts, they said, now we've got the perfect deal. How can we have that work better? Well, if you go to the hospital today and get an encephalogram, what's that? That's the memory of your conscious mind. It's on the CD. Let's download it on this being. Now we got a walking, talking duplicate that has the total memory that you have, because we just took it off of your own mind.
Okay, it's like Blade Runner, the android.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. The only thing is that it's like this DVD recorder. Sometimes you have glitches in it, so you have to have them tuned up occasionally or redone. And so we take them to Camp David, or there's a wing at Bethesda Hospital to just tell you. If you go down there and check, you'll find the nurses, if they're willing to come forth, they'll tell you they work on those people, and they call them the others. I thought it was interesting. They're people. Remember, these people can think and act, but they don't have soul. That's also prophesized. Soulless
that's
beings.
true. That's true.
Now we have another agenda that's going on, so you have to be careful of all this. There are many extraterrestrials that would like to be in on the game right now, so they can will come into these physical beings that we've made to manipulate them.
I see.
So now you have a combination effort that you have to look at, and discernment. You have to discern what the game is. Well, just figure that most of the leaders we have in the world have been bought and paid for or created to think a certain way in the world.
Mm-hmm. But okay, now to get back to what I'm asking you is like, so you had sort of this crystallization moment. You were basically thinking like them, you were making money like them. So is that just the beginning of a path that you went on at that point, or did you have an instantaneous change?
I'm looking back at my experience when I had all the things. That's when I made my conscious decision when they...
you refused the job.
Well, the job, it wasn't a question of doing that. It was what they're going to do after that. And after that was to reduce the world's population down to 500 million.
Right.
I said, wait a minute, I don't want to be part of that.
Okay.
I mean, it's something with, wait a minute, I want to know more about that, because I've as a kid, I was brought up, one of my friends, Dr. Walter Moyer, was one of the doctors that dug up the Dead Sea Scrolls. And he came back and he gave me a lot of the information. He said they'll never let it out to the churches. There's no such person of Jesus. There was no evidence of anybody ever lived like that. Well, that, of course, takes care of organized religion per se, as they look at it. So I said, well, wait a minute, I want to look at that story. So I started analyzing, but also on a logical basis. Then the information that I had received from extraterrestrials about life per se, and life begins maybe before you came into this planet.
Oh, well, definitely before that.
That you select, but they say at the moment of conception, that's a coincidental thing from the extraterrestrials. Now, this all fits together. We didn't talk about it. My first extraterrestrial thing was when I was in the Air Force, and that was in 1958. I'm stationed at Edwards Air Force Base out in the Mojave Desert, and did the post-flight inspection on the X-15, the forerunner of the space shuttle. And when I finished doing that, and it's nothing more than a rocket on skids that lands out in the desert, there was a couple of hangars that I hadn't been to. So I was curious. I mean, I was cleared for top secret. I just went inside of it, and now I'm looking at, as close as you are, a disc, a lot bigger than this room, but this is unusual. And I'm sitting here kind of walking, I said, maybe I want to find out more about this. So anyway, I went back in and asked my commander about this, and he basically told me that it was an ion-powered craft, I-O-N, powered craft designed by Sikorsky, the helicopter people, for use in outer space. I accepted what he said. I was naive. And I said, well, when can I work on it? And he says, you can't. It's still a civilian project. You know, Edwards is a crossover base. When I was there was only 800 airmen and 25,000 civilians. The civilian contracting companies make these vehicles. Then the Air Force tests them. That's what they do out there. So I had all kinds of weirdo planes that I worked on. I just, coincidences, if you want to call it that, happened to be running around. My buddy was the base photographer. And so I'm telling him, I says, get me some pictures of that disc, because he was giving me everything else. And he said, what did they tell you? And I told him, he said, that's not true. And then he proceeded to show me pictures of the spacecraft. Well, I already saw that. But the two dead aliens got my attention, because they were, you know, humanoid, but more like the grays that you see in the movies. Mm-hmm. Well, that had me a little confused. Hey, rah, rah, I'm in the Air Force. I love my country. I've got all this stuff. I'm cleared for top secret. Why did my commander lie to me? Well, I'm kind of inquisitive, right? So I went down and asked my commander. The first thing, he blew up. He reminded me of my top secret clearance. So we joked about it, because at that time the fine was $10,000 if you said anything in jail time. And I said, I'm not worried about my family had money. I said, I'm not too worried about the $10,000, but that jail time had me bothered. So I said, I won't say anything more about it.